We are at TD Arena in Charleston, South Carolina for tonight's championship game between the Miami Hurricanes and the Charlotte 49ers. 8 teams began play here on Thursday. The only 2 teams who are 2-0 are Miami and Charlotte. And in the semifinals on Friday, Miami beat Akron by 28, while Charlotte won a thriller in its semifinal matchup with South Carolina, coming from 14 points down to win it by 2 to set up tonight's matchup. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Picozzi, along with former ACC coach Dino Gaudio. Thanks so much for joining us for this championship game. Dino, Miami has 9 players who are in their first year in the program. They're 4-0, outscoring their opponents by 21 per game. Where are the growing pains?
There hasn't been any, Bob, and here's why. The new NCAA rules allow you to work with your teams while in summer school. And coupled with that, Miami went on a foreign tour to Spain where they were 4-0, had 10 practice days leading up to that. So before the summer was over, the kids knew the philosophy, their responsibilities, and their roles.
Now, the 2 most important of those 9 newcomers are transfers from the Big 12.
I don't think any transfers have been more impactful in America than these 2 guys right here. Jim Larinaga, who's coached for 31 years, said Sheldon McClellan may be the most talented offensive player he's ever had. And then an Angel Rodriguez, the Kansas State transfer, as a sophomore, second team, all Big 12, and he was on the all-defensive team at Kansas State.
So Charlotte won the Great Alaska Shootout 2 Novembers ago. The Puerto Rico tip-off last November. They're in another early season tournament championship game. What do they have to do tonight to make it 3 of them?
Their guard play better be excellent to stay with the Miami backcourt. And it really starts with Perrier Henry. Now, he hasn't been playing well. 13 turnovers in 3 games. And they got to find a way to get easy baskets, Bob. For Charlotte, it's the offensive backcourt.
Let's look at the starting lineups. You mentioned Perrier Henry. He's a preseason All-Conference USA selection, and he's really struggled with his shot in this event. Braxton Aboise is a transfer from Florida, and he is Charlotte's leading scorer in his first year in a 49ers uniform. And for Miami, Manu Lecomte has scored 29 points in the first 2 games of this tournament. Tanya Jakiri has 29 rebounds in the first 2 games, and he is the only player left in the Miami team from the squad which went to the Sweet 16 2 years ago. Our officials tonight are John Higgins, Kelly Self, and Tony Green. Higgins will toss it up between Jakiri for Miami, and for Charlotte, it's Mike Thorne, and we are underway as the 49ers control the tip.
Well, it's imperative Miami guard the 3-point line tonight, as Charlotte has 5 players shooting 40% or better from behind the stripe.
Henry is number 15, and this is Aboise. Spent 1 year at Florida, sat out his transfer year a year ago, and is averaging 17 points per game in his first 3 games with the 49ers. There's a rare shot from the perimeter by Thorne, and on the rebound, a held ball, and on the possession arrow, it will go to the Hurricanes.
Now, Mike Thorne has to understand that Jakiri isn't going to come out on the perimeter and guard him. That shot might have been a good shot for the Hurricanes.
And this is Rodriguez, number 13, the much talked about transfer from Kansas State. He's only 5'11". Jakiri. Rodriguez will hoist the 3.
And he is picked up right where he left off the other night. And you know what he gives his team also, despite his scoring? Because of his presence, he gives others on that team confidence.
52% shooter from 3-point range. Henry is guarded by Rodriguez, who's giving away 6 inches in that matchup. And we're going to get a foul on Thorne, the first one on the 49ers. Jim Larinaga was at George Mason University for 14 years before Miami, and he took George Mason to the Final Four in 2006 in one of the great upsets in the history of the NCAA tournament. Henry misses the perimeter shot, and the long rebound controlled by Clayton. Charlotte can rebound.
They really can, and that's a big key for Miami. Limiting Charlotte's second shots with Thorne and Clayton and their big guard, Perrier Henry.
Thorne inside, up and over Jakiri.
I'll tell you, Jakiri's a great shot blocker. If Thorne could establish himself on the inside, huge upside for Charlotte.
Lecomte, one of the 2 returning players on this team.
Now, that's what Thomas is. He's a ball reversal guy and an offensive rebounder.
McClellan with the miss. Long rebound to Henry, who's a very good rebounder for a guard. and will get the first foul on McClellan. 1 on him and 2 on the team. Alan Major, in his 5th year as the head coach at Charlotte, spent 9 years as an assistant under Thad Matta, 3 at Xavier and 6 at Ohio State.
And he had a great mentor in Thad Matta. And like I said, I was at Xavier for many years. Those guys just kept it rolling. A Final 8 appearance. And you know what else I liked about these tournaments, Bob? The casual attire for the coaches. Sweatshirts, pullovers. A little more relaxed atmosphere from those guys.
Yeah, they'll be dressed a little bit differently when these two teams incredibly are going to see each other again in 48 hours. They're going to play again in a regularly scheduled game at Charlotte.
And what I like early from Charlotte, they're really attacking the basket. Perrier Henry on the prior possession, Terrence Williams right there. They're going at Miami offensively.
Rodriguez goes around the screen set by Joe Thomas. Kick out Lecomte, air ball, rebound pulled down by number 14, Terrence Williams. Williams spins and is stripped by Rodriguez. Here's Miami, 3-on-1 if they hurry. Lecomte to the trailer, Rodriguez, and it's blocked by Clayton.
And you know what? 2-on-1, I hate that drop pass back to the middle. 2-on-1, go to someone, stop shoe. McClellan should have finished this basketball right here. Should have finished the shot.
Off the inbound, Lecomte juggled it, and it's taken away by Thorne.
3-on-1 fast break opportunity. Miami doesn't take advantage of it. Now we're talking about excellent guard play is needed. They have to establish a post presence, Charlotte. And finally, their strength is offensive rebounding. They have to get on the offensive backboard. Easy baskets for Charlotte are huge in this one.
And what are the keys to a win?
Well, we're talking about an excellent guard play. And that big thing we talked about on the air was from Perrier Henry. He has to really step up his game. Early in this one, only 3 minutes in, he's done that.
Rebound of Boise. 49ers looking for something in transition. Low block Thorne. Tried to pass it through the lane, and Joe Thomas stepped into the passing lane. Thomas is another transfer. That's a palming violation on Rodriguez. He turned the ball over in his hand. What do the Hurricanes have to do to get a win tonight, do you know?
The Hurricanes have to win the war on the glass, because we know what kind of rebounding team Charlotte is, and then share the ball, which they've done all year. 15 assists per game, and then you want to play at a faster pace. Put those big guys from Charlotte in a track meet, if you will. Get them running up and down.
Number 2, Torrin Dorn, a freshman from Charlotte, is checked into the game for the 49ers, replacing Terrence Williams. Boise leads for Clayton. The rebound is pulled down by McClellan. And
I like what Alan Major's doing on 2 possessions thus far. He's posted up Perrier Henry on Angel Rodriguez.
Charlotte 1 for 6 from the floor. Rodriguez down low. It's blocked by Clayton, but goaltending is called.
Charlotte coming out with a lot of energy early. I don't know about that. I think that was a good block.
I think Alan Major, judging by his reaction, agreed with you.
Yeah, it didn't hit the glass prior to his hand hitting the ball.
Henry penetrates and leaves for Dorn, but he was standing on the sideline. That will bring us to our first break of the ball game. It's an early 1-point lead for Miami in the championship game in Charleston. First 6 shots. It is an early 1-point lead for Miami. These two teams have met 8 times previously. They've split the 8. Miami won the last 2. The most recent one was 2 years ago, December 14th, 2012. Hurricanes at home won it by 31. And that was the Miami team, Dino, that went all the way to the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament.
Win the ACC regular season, win the ACC tournament title, and what a year led by Shane Larkin that Larrañaga had at Miami.
Last year, Miami finished 17-16. 7-11 in the ACC, a 10th place finish.
And honest to goodness, brother, I don't know how they won 17 games.
And Lecomte knocks down the 3. Tony Green, official blows a whistle. A Charlotte player is on the floor. was shaken up. It's a Boise. We did not see what happened.
Oh, his own guy came down. Looks like he came down on his leg. Yeah, Thorne came down on his foot. Watch number 12 here in the white. Yeah, he came right down on his foot.
And the training staff is out to tend to the 6'1" sophomore from Charlotte.
You hope he could come back here, but a Boise, without a doubt, you know, one of their best two shooters.
Look of concern on the face of his head coach Alan Major. Will step aside with Miami up by 4. Ending to Charlotte sophomore Braxton of Boise. He was going to carry him off the floor. Willie Clayton. Obviously, you have no idea what the extent of that injury is, but he appeared to be in a great deal of discomfort.
Yeah, and his own teammate Thorne, just going for the offense or just going for the rebound, came down on his leg, and we'll have more information from the trainer in just a few. But hopefully he can come back in, because he's played. They're not in a championship game without Braxton Boise. The way he played in the second overtime the other evening just took the game over.
Yeah, in the opening round, they beat Penn State 106-97 in double overtime. 3 starters, including Perrier Henry, preseason All-Conference USA guard, fouled out. So Boise really took over, scored 26 points, and Charlotte survived. Took them 50 minutes to do it. Nice shake and bake move to the goal by Henry.
And I'm telling you, what you're seeing early out of Perrier, he has posted up and taken Rodriguez off of the dribble 3 times now early in this game.
Well, Henry is 6 inches taller than Rodriguez.
It is, and he's trying to take advantage of it. Drives, post-ups, and taking him into the lane.
LeCompte with the drive with the left hand. Miami is small. LeCompte is 5'11". Rodriguez is 5'11". They're big up front with Shaqiri 7 feet. And Thomas, the 4, is a graduate student at 6'7". And Thorne over the left shoulder. We'd like to welcome those of you who have just finished watching West Virginia beat UConn in the finals of the Puerto Rico tip-off. I'm Bob Picozzi, along with former ACC coach Dino Gaudio. This is the final of the Charleston Classic. Miami leads Charlotte 10-8. We've played 5.5 minutes. Charlotte is, at least for the moment, playing without starting guard Braxton of Boise, who just suffered an injury to his leg. Got tangled up with a teammate, Mike Thorne, who hits that shot. He was literally carried to the bench. They're still working on him on the Charlotte bench. And Dino, if he cannot come back, that's a big blow for the 49ers.
It is a big blow, because Braxton Boise, the reason they're in the championship game tonight is how well he played in overtime the other night. When 3 starters were out in the second overtime, he just took the game over.
Manu LeCompte hits that layup. He has scored 7 of Miami's 12 points. Henry on the drive, and he's been very aggressive.
He's been very aggressive, and you can see what Charlotte's doing. They're going at Angel Rodriguez. When you have a great player, make him defend on the other end, and that's exactly what Perrier Henry's doing.
Especially make him defend when he's 6 inches shorter than you are.
That's the one thing about Miami's guards, LeCompte and Angel Rodriguez. They list them at 6 foot. Those guys might be 5'10".
Following the LeCompte miss, hitting at the other end is the freshman Torrin Dorn.
It's amazing the job that Keyshawn Woods and Torrin Dorn, the 2 freshmen, have done for Charlotte early in the year, playing beyond their youthful years.
Charlotte beat Penn State in double overtime and then beat South Carolina by 2 to get here. Rodriguez with the miss. Rebound on a hop is taken by Thorne for Charlotte. Miami beat Drexel by 20 and Akron by 28 to reach the finals. Down low and losing the ball off his leg is Willie Clayton.
And the other thing we've seen.
And for those of you that want to continue to watch the Gildan Charleston Classic Championship between Miami and Charlotte, it's over on ESPN2 right now. Back inside SportsCenter, Hakeem and Zubin. That's not the only tournament championship taking place today.
Yeah, we got the Puerto Rico tip-off tournament championship game. Defending champion, national champion, not the Puerto Rico tip-off champions, UConn taking on West Virginia. And before the game, 4 players suspended because of team violations, including Marcel Lewis. Let's take a look at the highlights. Puerto Rico tip-off championship, here we go. Pick it up first half, UConn down 20-13. Ryan Boatwright kicks it out to Sam Cassell Jr. Yeah, that's his kid.
And the return pass to Jakiri, a little bit off target, but there to clean things up and draw the foul is number 0, Jaquan Newton.
In a very bad offensive possession, and he got away with it. And a good sign. You're seeing a Boise stand up, trying to walk off the injury.
That's his head coach right next to him, Alan Major. Since the Boise left the game, Major has been, 30 feet from normal, finally going back to where he normally sits. He's been so concerned he's been down by his injured player the whole time.
No question, his assistants have been running the team while he's been down there with Boise, the Florida transfer.
Sheldon McClellan returns, replacing Thomas. McClellan, a highly regarded transfer from the University of Texas. And he and Rodriguez, both transfers, both out of the Big 12, and they have been a huge reason, Dino, why this team is 4-0.
And of course, I mean, and second units help you win championships, or they could keep you from winning a title. And the guys coming off the bench for Miami have really helped this team, and the freshmen have played beyond their years.
Low block Clayton, guarded by Jakiri, who's a real shot blocker, and he got a piece of that one. Had a career high 4 blocks in the semifinal win over Akron.
When Clayton has Jakiri on him, he has to lift him. In other words, shot fake and go to a second move, and that'll create an avenue for a shot for you.
James Palmer slips in 4, falls as he drives to the goal. Boise trying to stretch out that knee. We go to a timeout.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Gildan. We make your favorite activewear, underwear, and socks. At Gildan, every thread counts. And Burger King's 2 for $5 menu. Mix and match 2 large premium sandwiches for just $5.
We are in Charleston. It's the final day of the Gildan Charleston Classic, and tournament action will continue or begin on Wednesday in the battle for Atlantis. The leadoff game will be 6th-ranked North Carolina against Butler, and that one, Dino, will see Marcus Page, who is one of 4 Wooden Award nominees that will play in this 8-team event.
Terrific talent. You have at Wisconsin, who's 3-0. Kaminsky got 26 against Boise State. Florida comes in limping a little bit with Eli Carter and Dorian Finney-Smith questionable, but in the tournament, Michael Frazier from Florida, a wonderful 3-point shooter. Marcus Page could be player of the year in the Big Ten, and Marcus Page, ACC, I should say, and Frank Kaminsky could be the player of the year in the Big Ten, picking up right where he left off last NCAA tournament.
Oklahoma with Buddy Hield, also a Wooden Award nominee. They'll get UCLA in the opening round.
And Miami looking at 2-3 zone now.
Dorn misses the 3, and on the rebound, it's batted around and winds up in the hands of Jaquan Newton. Quickly takes him into the lane. Sherman with the miss.
But that's what he does. He's a stretch forward. Don't look at him and say, wow, why is the big guy out there? He could stroke it from behind the 3-point line.
Charlotte has outscored Miami 10-4 since Boise left the game. He now has an ice pack on that right knee. The shot by Henry is no good, and rebound is last touched by Charlotte.
And because the Charlotte guards were posting up and driving the smaller Miami guards, you've seen Jimmy Larinaga come out of the timeout and go 2-3 zone.
Charlotte is an outstanding rebounding team. Thorne had career high 16 in the double overtime win over Penn State in the first round. Clayton was the 2nd leading rebounder in Conference USA last season. From the corner, it's Omar Sherman. The rebound is pulled down by Dorn.
I mean, Sherman comes in 5 from 11 from behind the 3-point line, 46%. And from Duncanville, Texas, Duncanville High School, he is a 3-point shooting big guy, a stretch 4. They love his future at Miami.
Ice pack applied to that right knee of Boise. Saw him trying to stretch it out on the exercise bike before the last time out. But certainly doesn't look, Dino, like he's going to be back on the floor anytime soon.
Especially when they ice it. The last thing you want that thing to do is get stiff. And but they're putting the ice on, of course, so that the knee doesn't swell.
McClellan hits the runner.
800 points coming in from Texas, 400 over in each of his 2 years there. And Jimmy Larrañaga, 31 years in coaching, said this is the most talented offensive player I've ever coached, Sheldon McClellan.
So when you combine everything, his athletic ability, his instincts, his ability to score and jump. Following the steal, inside it's Jakiri, counted in the foul.
Great penetration by McClellan, and you love the big guy inside. Lifted the defense, plays with patience and poise. The drive, that's a terrific shot fake. A lot of big guys rush when they're on the inside. You love his patience before taking the basketball out.
First foul on Clayton, 2 on the team. Jim Larrañaga says of Jakiri, I have more confidence in him than he has in him.
And he's 7 for 7 for the line thus far this year. Big upside. He's a defensive player. He's a shot blocker, a rim protector. Mostly inside, dump downs and dunks to him. When he develops an offensive game, he'll be a big threat moving forward for the Hurricanes.
Henry penetrates, kicks. They rotate it to Dorn for 3.
A wonderful one more. Penetration, collapsed the defense, the kick out, and very unselfish play by Charlotte.
Dorn was terrific in the double overtime win over Penn State in the first round. Had 14 points in 33 minutes.
He was really well coached in high school advanced by Will Robinson, and one of the great coaches, high school coaches in North Carolina. Both teams 2-3 zone now.
He's played 11 minutes. We're tied at 17. These two teams will play again on Tuesday in Charlotte, inside McClellan.
And you're seeing the athletic ability from McClellan. Wasn't a great pass, was able to hang in the air before he gathered and put it in.
Williams at the foul line, puts it on the deck. Kicks out to Ivan Benkovic for 3.
And I love the zone attack. Inside, collapses the defense, and then he finds the three-point shooter, Benkovic. When you're attacking zones, go inside out. You have to get the ball in the lane, in the maroon on the floor here at Charleston.
Benkovic 5 for 11 from 3-point range for the season. That is what he does off the bench. Jaquan Newton with the runner.
I love this kid. Too many times as announcers we say, hey, he's a winner. But this kid right here, 3 state championships, 4 city championships, 4 Catholic League titles in Philadelphia for Jaquan Newton.
Newton scored 33 points in a state tournament game the day after he lost his mom, Lisa, to cancer last March.
I talked to his high school coach today, Carl Arundale from Newman-Goretti. He said his first shot hits the backboard, the side of it, and then he runs off 33 points. He goes, it was like watching a movie after what the young guy had gone through.
Miami by 1. Rodriguez saves it in front of the bench. Between the legs, over Benkovic. He's fouled, and he'll shoot 3.
Why? He has such size to contest the shot. The last thing you need to do is foul a three-point shooter.
First on Benkovic, 3 in the team. Rodriguez will shoot 3 when we come back. We're back here at the Charleston Classic, where it is a 1-point Miami lead in the championship game. 7 minutes left in the first half. Monday Night Football will see the Ravens visit the Saints. The Saints got a break today. The Falcons lost on a field goal at the buzzer. So even though New Orleans is 4-6, Dino, a win would put the Saints all alone in first place in the rather pedestrian NFC South.
To say the least. And Nola, they have to win New Orleans. 2 straight home games they've lost. They got to come back and win this one. And what we're looking at right here now, Bob, is the ball screen against the zone, which creates dribble penetration and frees it right there. Nothing hurts your defense more than dribble penetration, and it collapses the Miami defense. There's 4 guys right here in the lane, and I love what happens here by Perrier Henry. The kick out and the one more. Very unselfish, very good zone offense by the 49ers.
Angel Rodriguez will be at the line shooting 3. His coach, Jim Larrañaga, told us Rodriguez's greatest assets are his intangibles. He's a leader, he's a gamer, and he loves to have the ball in his hands. How about the story he told us about that game-winning shot against Florida?
He says they come to the huddle, and Rodriguez tells Larrañaga, give me the ball. And Jimmy goes, oh, wait a minute. He pulls him out of the huddle, and he goes, which play you want me to call for you? And then he hits the shot, and down the other end, he takes a charge for Miami on the defensive end. But comparisons already to Shane Larkin. But from what I've seen early, Bob, Larkin faster, a better athlete. And I know Rodriguez's numbers are very good, 52 from behind the three-point line. But Shane Larkin, a better three-point shooter. But this kid right here, number 13, I'd take him on my team any day.
Played the first 2 years at Kansas State. Dorn. Williams finds Thorne in the low block. Here comes the double team. They double the ball again. Thorne, that's generally not his strength.
No, but if he can do that, it really makes it difficult for the Miami bigs because they're helping on ball screens and helping on penetration. But big shot by Thorne. Maybe draw DeCurie out from under the basket.
He had 23 points and 16 rebounds in the double overtime win over Penn State. Inside, great feed from Rodriguez to Sherman.
It's a great feed, and I love what Sherman did. He saw the penetration, so he made himself available to the passer.
Benkovic for 3, his second. That's what he does coming off the bench, isn't it?
You better know where he is. Your body might be in help, but your mind and vision better be on that kid right there, the three-point shooter.
In that double overtime game, there were so many stoppages late in the game and opportunities for Allen Major to make substitutions. Every time Charlotte was going back on offense, he put Benkovic back in. And every time they were going back on defense, he got him out of there.
He knows his limitation.
The guy went on defense. Cameron Blakely made a huge block shot to help preserve the win. Rodriguez for 3. Long rebound. McClellan runs it down. Miami has missed 8 of its last 9 three-point attempts.
And I like what Miami's doing on offense. One of the things you could do against the zone is screen it. There's another high screen against the zone.
LeCompte can't get it to go, but Jacari with the offensive board.
Can McClellan get up? If you can't grab the offensive rebound, just tip it, keep it alive. And that's what McClellan did.
Hurricanes by 3. Miami struggling from behind the arc. They're a 47% shooter for the season from 3. Benkovic doubled, finds the cutter. Dorn. Great look to Thorne, who will draw the foul.
Yeah, I mean, you love what Dorn does here. The penetration, the dribble drive, and a wonderful dish to him. And then down the other end, Jacari gets the bucket that Sheldon McClellan, and I know you can't give him assist on that, but you should. Tell guys all the time, if you can't grab an offensive rebound, just tip it, keep it alive. And Jacari cleaned it up.
Foul on Sherman, his first 3 in the team. Thorne at the line. His coach Allen Major says he likes playing center. He doesn't fantasize about playing another position.
All those big guys, they want to be point guards. They want to show you they can shoot threes, but I like it. He knows where his money is, and it's on the block.
Tenacious rebounder. Pass by Rodriguez was too low, and when you're 7 feet, it takes a while to get all the way down by your ankles, and Jacari couldn't get it.
He's saying, my bad, exactly. Give that big guy a chance to react to it.
Well, Boise has now moved from one end of the bench all the way to where the coaches are, and that is a good sign.
And he's in assistant's ears like, hey, I'm ready to go.
Ice pack is gone. We shall see. Benkovic for his third 3.
You're Angel Rodriguez. You better be there on the catch, because that kid is stroking it right now.
He's hit one from left field, right field, and from dead center.
You can't lose vision of him when you're help side defender.
Charlotte ties Miami inside the 4-minute mark. Lecomte for three. Weak side rebound, McClellan.
When you're in a zone, it's difficult to box out because you don't have an assignment, a guy that you're guarding. But when that ball's shot, you can't ball watch. You have to make contact with an offensive player.
Fourth rebound of the game for McClellan. He averages 5 from his guard spot. He's a big guard, 6'5". Keyshawn Woods misses the shot, and here's Rodriguez pushing it right into the teeth of the defense. Bankovic blocked it. Here's Dorn the other way. Just explodes down the lane and draws the foul. So Dorn will shoot a couple. Miami by 2.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Pert Plus. In, out, done. Don't be an animal. Use Pert Plus. And USAA, proudly serving the financial needs of current and former military members and their families.
And right, Boston, UConn and West Virginia in the finals in Puerto Rico.
Like the old Big East for sure. And new guy on the bench at Connecticut doing a marvelous job, and Coach Huggins in Morgantown.
Third former Big East team, Boston College, was in the semifinals in that event in Puerto Rico. Alan Majors had a, shall we say, an eventful offseason. Took a 4-month leave of absence. He underwent 3 surgeries, 2 procedures on his eye because of glaucoma, and 1 to correct an irregular heartbeat. And his staff ran the ship while he was away, and he just couldn't say enough positive things about the job that his staff did while he was gone.
He leaves the beginning of May, comes back in September, and he's completely gone from the team. And you have guys like Ryan Odom, the associate head coach, Desmond Oliver, Orlando Vandross, and he said situations like that, one of the assistants might be going, hey, this is my chance. None of those guys. They kept things heading in the right direction. And the other thing he said was the players took care of business in summer school. It wasn't like, hey, coach isn't here, we'll slide a little bit. So he spoke highly about, there's Ryan Odom right there. His dad, Dave Odom, the former head coach at Wake Forest in South Carolina. Pretty soon you'll see that guy running a program, because he does a terrific job as an assistant at Charlotte.
Following the missed free throw on the scramble for the ball, Rodriguez committed his second foul, and 4 on the Hurricanes.
And a nice change defensively. Sheldon McClellan's now guarding Bankovic.
McClellan at 6'5". Henry dribbled the ball off his foot, and then Bankovic reaches in and commits the foul, his second and 4 on the team.
And the reason it's a good adjustment, Bob, like you mentioned, McClellan 6'5", great athlete. He's going to make sure that Bankovic doesn't get off any more threes.
So Rodriguez on the bench with 2 fouls. Who runs the offense now?
Well, Lecomte has done it. He did it all last year when they didn't have Angel Rodriguez. He's more of a 2 guard despite his size, but he's run the point in the past.
Lecomte gives to Newton. Dishes down to Jakiri. Great penetration.
No question. That's what Newton's game is. He creates for others. He also played point guard in high school at Newman Goretti, so he feels comfortable handing the ball. I like it. Good call, Walk.
Clayton called for the travel.
So this is a know your personnel. This is a scouting report play right here. You know this kid wants to dribble the ball, put it on the floor. Make sure you keep him in front of you.
Three-point Miami lead as we approach the 2-minute mark of the half. In the Charleston Classic Championship game, Miami won this in 2009. They're 5-0 in their history in this event. Lecomte goes around the Jakiri screen. Then in the corner, knocking down the three, McClellan. That's not his, or make that James Palmer, yet another one of these freshmen.
These freshmen come in, and Larinaga talks a lot about how prepared these guys are to come in and play right out of high school.
Palmer's a 57% shooter from three.
Thor needs to get deeper in the lane before he lets that jump hook go.
Williams knocked the ball loose, then the big fella Clayton runs the floor. Finds Williams. He was a little hesitant to go at the shot blocker Jakiri, wasn't he?
There's no question he was. Very, very good decision. And how about Clayton's ability to run it down, gather, and make the pass?
Henry misses the shot. He is now 0 for 8 from three-point range for the season. And then Williams with the bump at the other end, 1 on him and 5 on the team. The EA Sports Maui Invitational is going to begin tomorrow. Among the teams in the event, Dino, the second-ranked team in the country, Arizona, and Wooden Award nominee Stanley Johnson.
The freshman Wooden Award nominee in Arizona. This might be Sean Miller's deepest team and most experienced team, and a team with some depth that he didn't have in prior years. When they lost Brandon Ashley last year, it really cost them to going to the Final Four. I think they would have beat Wisconsin if they would have had Ashley.
LeCompte missing the runner. Here's Henry the other way for the 49ers. Final minute of the half. Williams for three. Rebound inside, and Clayton missed the chippy. Williams gets it back again. Much better.
Second shot opportunities. Miami in the halftime needs to talk about. We need to get the white shirts off the backboard.
Does Jim Larinaga use his first half use it or lose it timeout here?
I think he should. Why keep it in your pocket? But he has confidence in his kids. If he sees it's not going the way he wants with the flow of the offense, maybe he pulls it.
LeCompte to Palmer, hits back-to-back threes from the same spot. He just looked for his footprint.
I'm saying he let it go too early. But you know what? Big three for him going into halftime.
Charlotte has all of its timeouts left, but neither coach is going to use them. 6 seconds to go in the half. Henry off his foot. Now let's see if Jim Larinaga uses a timeout with 3.7.
Call it, Jim. Yeah, there he goes.
There we go. See, he didn't use it last time. He knew they were going to get the ball back. That's what you call a veteran coach.
We talked about this. We were at North Carolina State. 4 seconds to go at the end of the game. We had Chris Paul take it out. We ricocheted it back to him. And in 4 seconds, he was at the rim and finished with the game winner. So plenty of time to get the ball into the attack area, even if you go back to your inbounder.
Now, their quickest player is Rodriguez. Would you risk putting him on the floor with 2 fouls with 3.7 left?
No, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't put him back in there. Just the chance of him maybe picking up a charge. But
so without him,
I'd go to LeCompte. I put the ball in his hands. Let's see if Jimmy puts. I didn't see anybody go to the table, but maybe you're going to try to get the basketball to the midcourt line. And you know McClellan's athleticism. He's a guy 1 or 2 dribbles that can get into the lane. Now, if I'm Charlotte, I'm going to pick up 3/4 court. You want the Miami guys to catch the ball from the foul line going towards the baseline as opposed to going towards their basket.
nobody guarding the inbound passer. It's Palmer. Gives it to Sherman, then quickly it goes to Newton at the buzzer. Got off a pretty good look, didn't come anywhere near the rim. In the first half, Sheldon McClellan had 8 points to lead a balanced Miami attack. And the Hurricanes lead at 38-31 at the half over Charlotte. Now let's send you to the studio for Steve Weisman and Jeff Goodman for the ESPN Halftime. It's the championship game in the Gildan Charleston Classic, and we are halfway home, and the Miami Hurricanes lead Charlotte by a score of 38-31. Welcome back to TD Arena. I'm Bob Picozzi, along with former ACC coach Dino Gaudio. We just caught a glimpse of Braxton of Boise, the two guard for Charlotte, who left very early in the game with what appeared to be a knee injury. You talked to the assistant coaches for both teams. Are we going to see him again in the second half?
He wants to come back in, but we won't see him in the second half. I think it's a medical decision, but that's a big loss. 26 points in the double overtime win the other night. But they still have to go inside the Thorn without Obese obviously in there. And I talked to the Miami staff as well. They said they need to guard the three-point line. Even in our zones, we got to mark Bankovic. And then they're saying Angel Rodriguez in transition. He's running. You other guys got to run with him.
Let's take a look at the highlights. And speaking of defending the three, Bankovic had his way in the first half, didn't he?
That's why Charlotte is where they are. They're so close. This kid has come off the bench and shot really well from behind the three-point line. But he's the known. That's what he is. He's somewhat one-dimensional three-point shooter. And then Sheldon McClellan has showed his athleticism. No one on the floor, the athleticism, the speed, the hops of this guy right here. You see the tip dunk. And right here, he doesn't make the play, but keeps it alive so his teammate Jakiri can get the putback.
Bankovic 3 for 3 from three-point range. In the first half, led his team. Balanced attack for Miami with McClellan scoring 8 points on 4 of 8 shooting. Boise played just 5 minutes before he left with the injury.
And I think a good sign for Miami, Angel Rodriguez goes 1 for 6, has 2 turnovers. He's not playing well, but they still have a 7-point lead. Both teams' benches have really stepped up.
Charlotte ball to begin the second half. Miami looking for its second Charleston Classic championship. They won in 2009. Henry was another quiet half for him, and he loses the ball over the end line. He really hasn't played well in this tournament.
He really hasn't, but what I liked about him early in the game, 3 of the first 4 possessions when he had Angel Rodriguez on him, he posted him up and drove him, and that's what put those 2 early fouls on the point guard for Miami.
3 turnovers for Henry tonight. He had 8 turnovers in the semifinal win over South Carolina.
His size has also bothered Angel Rodriguez. And there's the matchup we're talking about. Henry on Rodriguez.
And on the screen, Thorne is stuck on Rodriguez. Pass deflected, and then last touched by Rodriguez.
And you saw Charlotte switch the ball screen, and Thorne ends up on Rodriguez. And I like what Angel did. I was a big believer as when they switched the ball screen, drive the big.
Henry, preseason All-Conference USA guard for Charlotte. Williams went behind the back and then tried to force it inside, got to break it, wound right back up in his lap. And then the offensive putback by Clayton didn't get anywhere near to the rim. That was not a very pretty possession for Charlotte.
Jakiri really disruptive. He doesn't block the shot, he alters it.
The jumper from the perimeter, no good by McClellan. Rebound Thomas, right back to McClellan.
Thomas is just a blue-collar worker. He rebounds, he makes putbacks. Very good offensive rebound, and then the dish to McClellan. That's how he can help this Miami team moving forward.
Well, he averages 17 minutes per game, and he entered the game with 5 shots in the first 4 games. Total, 5.
And those are just putbacks. Those are 5 he probably got himself.
Here's Rodriguez. Thomas is a graduate student, a transfer from Niagara. Rodriguez can't get it to go, and will go to the line.
That's what the Miami staff was talking about. You have 2 or 3 guys behind Angel as he's pushing it on the break. You have to run. You have to run with him. Good hesitation, froze the defender, and then he went by.
Second foul on Terrence Williams, 1 on Charlotte this half.
What you love about this guy is he raises the energy level in the room. And if you're Jim Larinaga, if your 2 best players, Rodriguez and McClellan, are buy-in guys, as a coach, it makes your job so much easier. These 2 guys buy in.
So this is Rodriguez's 3rd year playing college basketball. He's played for 3 different coaches.
Wow.
2 different coaches at Kansas State.
I think he's home now. He's comfortable. He's in Miami. That's where he wanted to be. He called the Miami staff for them to recruit him.
And Keyshawn Woods knocks down the 3. Woods a very good 3-point shooter. He's now 2 for 3 tonight and 6 for 8 for the season.
And the 2 freshmen for Charlotte, different dimensions to their game. Woods more of a shooter, Dorn more of a driver.
Inside Thomas, it's blocked by Henry. Henry penetrates, kicks to Woods. This one won't go down. And here's Rodriguez the other way. Charlotte gets back quickly. It was knocked away by Williams, who touched it last. Miami will inbound baseline.
It's like he might have got away with a double dribble or a walk there.
And now Tony Green, the official, calls out for the mop. We've had a problem throughout this tournament with moisture on the court. It's a very humid day in Charleston. A very wet day in Charleston. It has rained heavily all day.
All day.
After nothing but beautiful weather all week leading up to today. LeCompte drives, leaves for Rodriguez, up and over Thorne.
The floater. He has that in his offensive repertoire. Gets in the lane. Well, you have to shoot that really high, almost to the top of the backboard to get that thing off. And he did.
He's got 9. Thorne with his second perimeter jumper of the night.
And we haven't seen that out of him offensively, but he's showing he could step out. And what that's going to do, Bob, if he continues to do that, it'll draw Tanya Jakiri out on the floor.
Well, in the Penn State game, Charlotte repeatedly dumped it down on the low block to Thorne, and he hurt the Nittany Lions.
He really did. And he's showing us another dimension to his offensive game.
LeCompte with the miss. Rebound batted around, and Clayton recovers it for Charlotte. Henry.
Don't shoot it because you didn't handle it right.
Henry is first 3 of the season. And we'll get a rebound foul on Charlotte.
And these little guys, you got to put this in your offensive game. Off 1 foot, jump straight up so he doesn't charge us. The teardrop and the bucket.
In case you're wondering why Bill Murray looks so disgruntled there, he's wondering why Theo Epstein hasn't signed John Lester to his Cubs yet. But the offseason, it's still early in the offseason. Bill has a home in Charleston.
Who doesn't?
Right. Well, you and me, for 2 people.
Yeah, exactly.
And but Bill has been to this event in the past and is enjoying the championship game.
And if you haven't seen the movie St. Vincent, which he is in, just marvelous, a marvelous movie, a great feel-good movie, and he's terrific in it.
Betcha Bill will be watching the Maui Invitational. The championship game will be on Wednesday night at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. It's part of ESPN's Journey to the Tourney, a spotlight on games that will impact the NCAA tournament. Second-ranked Arizona leads a very strong field in Maui. Play will begin tomorrow. 5 Wooden Award nominees are in that 18 field. Offensive rebound, Jakiri had it taken away, but McClellan recovers for the Canes.
And you're seeing Miami come up with a lot of these 50-50 balls.
Now LeCompte will reset the offense. James Palmer, saw him hit a couple of threes off the bench in the first half, and now he hits a floater.
And if you're Torn Dorn, you have to make contact with him before he breaks the foul line. You have to body him up, can't allow him to get 10 feet where he could shoot that little jump shot.
8 points off the bench for Palmer. Down low, missing badly Thorne as he went up and over Jakiri, and here's Palmer the other way.
He's letting Jakiri bother him too much. He let the ball go too quickly, Bob. He let it go around 9 o'clock if you're looking at a clock. You got to extend.
And that jam by McClellan will give Miami its biggest lead of the night at 11. And Dorn loses the ball to LeCompte. Rodriguez for 3. Rebound yanked down by Dorn. The pull-up. Rebounded by Jakiri. Is that the shot you wanted if you were Allen Major?
And when you miss a couple jump shots, 3 in a row, I would tell our guys, listen, we got to go inside. We got to put the ball in Thorne's hands. I know he missed the jump hook, but you could get that shot any time in the shot clock. You don't take that in the first 10 seconds of the possession.
Jakiri from beyond the foul line. And we get a foul.
How athletic is this guy? And Perrier Henry saw the ball, but had his back turned towards his man. Defensively, see ball, see man, or that's going to happen to you.
Now, Henry is 6'5", and he's been guarding the 5'11" Rodriguez. Rodriguez, if you got to pick one guy you want to stop if you're the opponent, it would be Rodriguez. But do they really have someone that can handle McClellan at 6'5" when you have Henry on a 5'11" guy?
They have nobody that has that athleticism. The one guy that has the size and the strength is perhaps Terrence Williams. That would have to be the matchup. Terrence Williams, number 14 for Charlotte on McClellan. But McClellan's an incredible athlete. He's an NBA athlete in those terms. I'm not sure if he has that skill set, but he has that athleticism.
Kanye Jakiri was born in Nigeria, moved to the United States at age 16, didn't start playing basketball until he moved to this country. Played soccer in Nigeria. You don't see too many 7-foot soccer players.
All those guys play soccer.
Olajuwon plays soccer.
Yeah, that's why they have such good footwork and balance, those big guys.
Perrier Henry hits the drive.
You better come out and guard him on the perimeter.
Jaquan Newton has checked in for the Hurricanes. We saw him in the first half. Around the Omar Sherman screen, then gives to Sherman. Shot clock inside 10 for LeConte on the drive, and he just slithered through.
That big guy on that quick ball screen has to level him off. You can't let him get his shoulders beyond you if you're a defender.
9 points for LeConte. Down low, and Blakely could not handle the pass from Henry.
And it wasn't a bad pass. He has to be ready for it. Some guys come into games and you look at their face, and I like to say they have a good face. In other words, they exude confidence. Blakely, he has to have that because he does it right now.
13th turnover for the 49ers. Miami has only 6.
And it's like a boxing match. When a boxer hurts his opponent, they get really aggressive, and that's exactly what Miami's doing right now.
LeConte misses the 3, and on the scramble for the rebound, Henry tries to save and can't. Instead, it's LeConte. Newton down low, McClellan, and the foul. Well, you said he's an athlete.
How about how he takes on the contact? He stays in the air, bang, and stays with it. Like I said, it's like a boxing match. You see when boxers hurt their opponent, they come after them harder. That's what Miami's at right now.
An 11-2 Miami run has opened up the biggest lead of the night at 16. And Henry gets a second consecutive layup. Sheldon McLennan now with 15 points to lead the Hurricanes. Played his first 2 years at Texas. Started 15 games for Rick Barnes 2 years ago. Palmer drives, kicks, LeConte for 3.
You got one senior on this team, and when you have a young team and they adhere to the philosophy, they defend, they're sharing the ball like you saw right there. That's just terrific basketball.
Blakely misses the 3, rebounded by McClellan. The lead is 17. The wheels are starting to come off a bit for the 49ers.
And Charlotte has 4 timeouts left in their pocket. They got to stem the tide here a little bit.
Sherman, entry pass, McClellan to Newton. He juggled it, then went up. Shot was blocked, held ball. And on the arrow, it will be Miami ball when we come back.
And Sheldon McClellan, we're seeing the big difference in athleticism. When you have an individual strength and realize it, go to it, this guy does.
Brought to you by Royal Purple, and Sheldon McClellan has impressed, you know.
He really has. He's done a little bit of everything. He's rebounded, he's defended. He is a high wire act. And when you have a good player like that, put him in a position of power that's giving him the basketball in transition and giving him the basketball near the rim, because he could just elevate over everybody. And they've done that, Miami, thus far this game.
Jim Larinaga told us when you consider his speed, his jumping ability and his shooting, he's probably the most gifted guard I've ever coached. His ceiling is very high. So are his hops.
31 years of coaching, best offensive player I've ever coached. Speaks volumes about the kid's potential, and like you mentioned and Jim mentioned, his ceiling.
Rodriguez to Sherman, forces the shot and gets it to go anyway. Everything's falling for the Hurricanes.
Analytics are great, and there's a guy that wrote a book, The Goldmine Effect, about how and why people achieve success. And the biggest thing, business or sports, it's an accumulation of talent, and Miami's done a very good job of that. Rodriguez, McClellan, they got two guys sitting out right now. Ivan Cruz, who's 6'10", as skilled a big guy as you'll ever see from Madrid, Spain. And Kamari Murphy, the Oklahoma State transfer, who really defends, and not quite McClellan hops, but close to.
Rodriguez misses the three, and Dorn connects at the other end. Ivan Cruz Uceda will be able to join the team on January 13th. Transfer from Harcum College in Pennsylvania. He's 6'10". They lost Davon Reed, a 6'6" sophomore guard who's out 4 to 6 months with a knee injury. They only have 11 guys, only 9 scholarship guys available. So Cruz Uceda will become the 10th in mid-January. A hand check on the perimeter will be called on Dorn.
And as we can see, this team right here just thrives in the second half. Field goal percentage, threes, those numbers are off the chart. 54% from the three-point line, almost 80 from the free throw line. If you're Charlotte right now, you're saying, let's get 3 stops in a row. Let's get on a little run here, fight our way back into this basketball game. And it starts on the defensive end.
McClellan to Rodriguez. 2-3 zone, and Palmer with the air ball on the 3 attempt.
He's more of a slasher. That's a shot that he settles for right there.
Low block Thorne. Let's see if he goes at the shot blocker Jaciri. He does. And a foul is going to be called on Charlotte.
I think when you have a shot blocker like Jaciri, when you get in there, instead of constantly trying to shoot over him with a tremendously long reach that he has, shot fake him, try to lift him, and then go into him. See, he's fading away. When you have contact on offense, you want to keep it.
Clayton was called for a foul on the rebound. That's 3 on him and 6 on Charlotte.
When you fade away from a shot blocker, it makes his job easier.
Yeah, you want to take it right to his chest, right?
Take it right to his chin.
LeConte penetrates, pass deflected by Woods, then knocked over the baseline by Charlotte with 14 seconds on the shot clock. Alan Major searching for some answers here. He says, I like our experience, our length, our size, our versatility, our character, and our depth.
And I like his freshman. He has some very good young players.
Charlotte team picked 3rd in the preseason in Conference USA.
Shot clock at 3.
LeConte gives to Jaciri, and maybe one pass too many. Didn't get it off before the shot. But were they going to get bailed out by a foul?
They are. And you know what? Clayton, he's at the elbow. He needs to sink on the backside and take that pass away. That's his responsibility.
So they not only fouled him with less than a second left in the shot clock, and they really had no good shot anyway, but he commits his 4th foul.
And Bob, the reason is because he's out of position. He's watching the game instead of participating. That's like in hockey. Get those guys out from in front of the net when guys are driving to the basket. Clean up the crease.
Jaciri, although he didn't start playing basketball until he was 16, he had a game for the ages in high school in the state tournament regional semifinals. He had 45 points and 20 rebounds in one game. Don't they only have 32 minutes in those games too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's hard to do.
And how about the big guy? 10 for 10 thus far on the season from the free throw line. What a luxury that is.
Only player left for Miami from the team that went to the Sweet 16 2 years ago. Dorn loses it to Rodriguez, who then does a great job of protecting the ball and shot with his left hand.
And that's what the staff talks about when they're making the comparisons to Shane Larkin. He says Rodriguez more crafty. When he got to the top of the key, he sort of cut off the line where Dorn could come in and take away the shot. Really a crafty guy. There you go. There's your shot fake.
And he will draw a foul on Jacuri. That's his first. It's the first foul on Miami in the second half. It took nearly 12 minutes to get it. Boy, this was a close game for the first 22, 23, 24 minutes, and Miami has just completely taken off, and a disaster on the inbound pass results in another breakaway layup, and Alan Majors needs a timeout right here.
He needs a timeout bad. You're seeing that Charlotte kids dip their heads a little bit, walking to the huddle. Bad body language is not what you need right now.
Miami, average margin of victory 21, now up 23. But Miami has completely taken over here in the first 12 minutes of the second half, leading Charlotte by 23 in the championship game here in Charleston. Do you know these two teams are going to play against each other again on Tuesday night in Charlotte?
And as we look at their schedule, at Charlotte and South Alabama, 4 home games. But when they leave here Miami, they're going to go to one of the great companies, not just in Charlotte, but in the entire East Coast, Red Ventures. And they're going to practice at the offices there. There's a gymnasium there. The two owners, Rick Elias, Harvard Business School, Dan Feldstein, Wharton Business School. And Larinaga met them coaching fantasy camps. These guys are basketball junkies. When you walk into the business and you open the door, you go, what is that down there? Full court gym, 6 baskets. They're practicing at Red Ventures tomorrow, and I get another look at them as well.
Terrence Williams will draw the foul, and this will bring us to an official timeout. And we will step aside. Miami trying to win the Charleston Classic for the second time.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Gildan. We make your favorite activewear, underwear, and socks. At Gildan, every thread counts.
Well, when you visit Charleston, you feel very protected with the ever-present USS Yorktown, don't you?
I don't think we need it down here, though. I hope not.
Gives you a feeling of security, doesn't it? So Miami of the ACC looks like they're going to win the 2014 Charleston Classic. Virginia of the ACC, one of the 8 teams in the field for next year's tournament. Joined by Bradley, George Mason, Long Beach State, Ole Miss, Oklahoma State. Seton Hall was the runner-up in this event 2011, and also Towson as another very strong field will play in this event. Coaches will tell you not only this event, but all of these similar events where you play 3 games in 4 days. It's the best possible way over the course of the regular season to get you ready for your conference tournament, where you play. If you win, you play again. And if you win, you play again. You have to get ready, short prep, turn around, absorb the scouting report quickly, etc.
These early season games are, pivotal. But what they do is they're sort of a barometer. What's the state of our team? What do we need to work on moving forward? Everybody's got problems early. These games and these tournaments like this with quality opponents identify those weaknesses for you so you could work on them moving forward.
Great effort by Thorne for the putback at the other end. Newton drives, leaves for Palmer. And the fade in the lane no good by Newton, and here comes Williams with the rebound.
And Charlotte needs to push the basketball with 7 minutes to go. They have to create easy baskets for themselves in transition.
Henry on the drive will draw the foul on McClellan.
And we talked about Virginia being in this tournament next year. And with 4 ACC teams in the top 9 in the country, when you play Tony Bennett's team, you're going to see packed line defense, nowhere to drive the ball. They're all in gaps, and blocker mover on offense. One of the slowest paces of play in the country, but one of the most efficient.
Down low Thorne, head fake, and over Jacuri.
And you know what I like about Thorne? He's adjusted. He knows he has to pump fake Jacuri to keep him off balance. And the last 2 times he's had it, he's done that. You love to see kids learn.
Charlotte looks like they have a little more energy at the offensive end, but can they get a stop? 2-3 zone. And Benkovic reaches in and creates the steal. Woods goes right at LeConte, and it's tipped in by Williams.
And you see two Charlotte big guys, Williams and Thorne, hustling, pursuing the play, and that's what creates the basket for them.
And Larrañaga is going to get a timeout here with 6:09 left. Still comfortably in front by 17, but he doesn't like the body language. You mentioned Virginia, one of 4 ACC teams ranked among the top 9 in the country. Well, would you believe that Miami was picked to finish 10th?
Well, you
in
know,
the ACC. I'd like to name the 9 teams in the ACC better than Miami.
Excuse my bad English, but they ain't finishing 10th. That team is not a 10th place team. And when you got Rodriguez and McClellan and LeConte out there, Ja'Carri's really coming around. You know who I like? I really like North Carolina. I know Duke has all the sizzle, and Mike's done just a marvelous job there with Okafor and Tyus Jones and Winslow. But I think Carolina has depth, they have size, and they have a special player in Marcus Page. I don't think the things surrounding North Carolina with the academic stuff affects those players. I think it weighs on Coach Williams' mind. And you know what, Bob? I've known Roy Williams for 30 years. There is no way he knew about that. There's not a guy with more character in our business than Roy Williams. And maybe some things took place on the academic side, but there's no way that guy would condone that.
Out of the timeout, LeConte misses the 3 inside the 6-minute mark. And reaching in and stripping it is Palmer. And he took it right to the rim. What athleticism to maintain his balance.
The young guys from Miami, Jaquan Newton, James Palmer, Omar Sherman, these are going to be very good ACC players down the road.
Once again, Charlotte has played without Braxton Boise since the 5-minute mark early in the game. He left with a knee injury and has not returned and won't return. Off the steal, Henry blocked the shot by Newton, but is called for the foul.
Here's what you love about Miami. Coach Larrañaga calls a timeout. He's really upset, and they come out on the floor with a lot more energy and enthusiasm. They're all over the basketball on the defensive end.
You know, in chatting with Jim Larrañaga the other day at practice, we talked to him about the great tradition in the ACC, and particularly with North Carolina and Duke, and with all their national championships, and then you added Syracuse and Pitt last year. Now you have Louisville this year. You know, they've won 3 national championships. And I said, what's the vision of your program, long range? How do you think you're going to be able to compete? And he said, look, you can't concern yourself with how good your opponent is. You can only concern yourself with making you the best team it can be. The other team may have better players. It's your job as a coach to try to take advantage of what you do well, to try to see if there's in the scouting report, maybe the other team doesn't defend the ball screen as well, and take advantage of that. And he said, you know, I never look at personnel and say, oh, well, they're better, and, you know, we'll only win this many games.
When teams make a run like they made 2 years ago, and they win the ACC regular season, they win the ACC tournament, can you use that as a springboard, or you just fall back into the fabric of the league? And he really used it as a springboard. He picks up Rodriguez, he picks up McClellan. I mentioned the 3 freshmen they have. I mean, what better place to go to school than Miami? Are you kidding me? It's just gorgeous down there. Wonderful, and a great academic institution.
Shot is blocked by Thorne. Last touch by Miami. Rodriguez re-enters for the Hurricanes, replacing Newton. Larrañaga has had great production off his bench this season. Entering tonight, the bench has scored at least 20 points in all 4 games.
And I love, as I said, I love their young guys.
Rodriguez steals it.
Got lucky with that one.
I wonder if that one's in the playbook.
Unselfish, though. He's looking out for his buddy.
Well, that's fine if it works.
I know Larrañaga will talk to him about that, because you know what, Bob? You never accept in victory what you wouldn't accept in defeat.
Following the Thorne basket, Allen Major will get a timeout for Charlotte. So is Rodriguez going to lay it up with his left hand or his right hand? No, instead he's going to throw it off the backboard. I don't think he meant to hit the rim up with the pass.
And like I said, you'll talk about that with him after the game. Hey, as I said, don't accept in victory what you wouldn't accept in defeat. If Miami by chance would lose, they're not going to, but a play like that down the road can hurt you. I don't think you look at it and smile it off.
We asked Jim the other day, we said, you know, with all these new players, I mean, when you have 9 new guys worrying about how long will it take to gel, does that keep you up at night? He says, not at all. He says, it's fun. I love coaching. I love teaching. Who wouldn't love it?
I've been down there a couple of weeks ago. It's actually October 16th and 17th for a, what do they call, fantasy camps. And great energy in practice. There's an enthusiasm, and a lot of it comes from his staff. You're seeing Chris Caputo there on the right. He's another guy who's going to be a head coach. He was with Larinaga at George Mason when they went to the Final Four. Eric Conkle, Mike Kuger on the left. Mike Kuger was my coach in the fantasy camp at Miami. The thing I'm most proud of, Bob, I played 5 games, 3 turnovers. Old school point guard, take care of the ball.
Palmer hits another jumper. Been a good night for him off the bench with a dozen. Henry changes hands on the dribble. Can't get it to fall. Long rebound, McClellan.
Pick it up.
Dribbled right into Doran. Down low, Thorne with a jump hook.
Had a lot of activity, not a lot of productivity until the basket by Thorne right there.
3.5 minutes remaining. It's Miami by 17.
Now, if you're Charlotte, you're going to see these guys in 2 days. Let's keep scrapping. Let's keep fighting. Let's have something that we could build on for the game Tuesday night.
We'll begin tomorrow. The first game at 2 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. It will be Purdue against Kansas State, then followed by Missouri and number 2 Arizona. Then in the evening doubleheader, Pittsburgh and Chaminade, and finally BYU and San Diego State. That's the bracket in the Maui Invitational. Miami 3 minutes away from winning the Charleston Classic for the 2nd time. They won it back in 2009 against South Carolina in the championship game. Here's Devin Downey for the Gamecocks. Gamecocks taking advantage early of Hurricane turnovers. Dwayne Collins led an 18-3 run that gave Miami a 3-point lead at the half. Second half dominated by Miami. James Dews had a career-high 22. The Hurricanes win it 85-70 in the 2009 Charleston Classic Championship game. This is the list of the champions in this event, which began in 2008. So Miami is going to become a 2-time champion. Benkovic for 3. Air ball. But then Jakiri lost it over the end line. Didn't hit the rim. Shot clock didn't recycle. It's at 24. It's going to end a great run for Charlotte. They won the Great Alaska Shootout 2 years ago. They won the Puerto Rico tip-off last year, and they get all the way to the finals in a early season tournament for the 3rd year in a row as Doran hits.
If they get Boise back, and we're seeing every indication that they will moving forward, this is a team that's going to do damage in Conference USA. They have very good guard play, size with the big fella Thorne and Willie Clayton inside. Terrence Williams is a matchup nightmare. I really like the Charlotte 49er team.
Team that had to work very hard to get its 2 wins to reach the finals. Double overtime win over Penn State, and a 2-point win over South Carolina as LeConte hits 3 more. He's got 15 points.
And Miami comes in, Bob, with averaging 15 assists a game. They share the ball. The ball finds the open man. They have 16 tonight. That's why this team's so good on the offensive end of the floor. The ball finds the open man.
Clayton back in the game. He's been out quite a while with 4 fouls. And Thorne will draw a foul. Well, here is the all-tournament team. Led by Angel Rodriguez of Miami. DJ Newbill of Penn State set a tournament record by scoring 84 points in the 3 games. Damian Lee had 2 huge scoring games for Drexel, who won the 7th place game today. Braxton of Boise, Tanya Jakiri, and Angel Rodriguez is named the tournament MVP.
I throw a 6th guy on there. I know I'm not allowed to do that, but Sheldon McClellan these last 2 games has really come to play, and I think you're going to see him do damage as well in the ACC.
By the way, Drexel won the 7th place game today over Cornell, 71-69. Penn State beat USC 63-61 in the 5th place game. And Akron beat South Carolina 68-63 in the 3rd place game.
And I feel bad for that Cornell group, but I know this: Bill Courtney has a much different team than he did last year, and they're going to win some games in the Ivy League this year.
They didn't have Sean Miller last year, missed the whole year with a shoulder injury, and they won only 2 games all last year, but Miller's back this year.
Jalal Cancer as well.
Yeah, he sat out last year for personal reasons. Rebounded by Thorne, who leads all scorers tonight with 19. Henry is stripped by Rodriguez, and then Clayton falls down and took the ball. No, last touched by Miami.
Or Charlotte.
Last touch by Charlotte. Sorry. So Palmer will inbound for the Hurricanes. Miami will play its ACC opener against Virginia on January 3rd.
And how about Manu Lecomte? Played wonderful tonight. 6 for 13 from the field. First time he ever stepped foot on the States is when he came to school at Miami his freshman year in August from Brussels, Belgium. It's amazing how these kids come in and adjust as well as they do.
Palmer with the runner. Long rebound by Palmer. They'll work some more clock.
We'll find a lot out about this Charlotte team and how they perform, and more importantly, how hard they play on Tuesday night.
Well, they have 2 terrific rebounders up front with Clayton and Thorne. And clearly, they weren't the same team tonight without Boise. Only played 5 minutes. Went down with the knee. Is wearing an ice pack on the knee right now. And that's the exclamation point right there. McCall for 2 more. He's got 19.
That thing was 2 feet, 3 feet above the rim. Wow. My guy's got like a 40-inch vertical, something crazy.
Henry with the drive. It will not fall, and that is it. So the Miami Hurricanes, for the 2nd time, are the champions of the Gildan Charleston Classic. They won it in 2009 over South Carolina, and they win it tonight by beating the Charlotte 49ers. A very balanced attack, 5 players in double figures, and they are as advertised.
They really are. I think the Florida win on the road has really been a springboard for these guys. Sometimes get big games like that, they could fade into the fabric of the season, or you could just build on them. That's exactly what they did with Miami, built on it.
So the Miami Hurricanes are the 2014 champions of the Gildan Charleston Classic. Stay tuned on ESPN2 for ESPN Films. Roll Tide, War Eagle, presented by Buick. Good night from Charleston.